Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, hello, and welcome back, man. It was not cool not seeing you in person last week, but I understand why we had to do what we had to do with technology and so on, but much better to have you here in person.
I like this much better, no doubt about it.
So what's going on, man? What's new and exciting?
I was just thinking about that. I saw a picture of myself recently, and
okay.
No.
All right, I'll take the bait.
No, there's no bait. There's no bait.
There's always bait.
And what I noticed is I still, in this picture, I still have a lot of brown hair. And I was excited about that because, it's not all gray. I mean, the beard is pretty gray, but the top of my head is looking pretty brownish. You ain't buying what I'm selling?
No. I'm just wondering how old this photo is or how long you've had this color blindness issue.
Anyway, for some reason when I was listening to the, Graybeard Chronicles, well, we got gray beards, and it just reminded me that my hair is still, it's got some pretty good amount of brown in it, and I'm excited about that.
Okay.
All is well.
As long as you're happy with it, I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, how are you?
I am well. And the hair topic is not something that I can necessarily engage in other, from a witness standpoint, showing you what I see. But, for me, there's lots of gray up there and not a lot to begin with.
This as a former law enforcement officer, when you go into a 7-Eleven and they have those height things,
yeah.
With how tall you are,
right.
So they can. The nice thing that when you go in there, I mean, you can actually take your measurement because a lot of times they look.
I heard one of my brothers the other day say, "I'm 6 foot, depending upon what 7-Eleven I'm in."
Yes.
Whether or not they accurately put that scale on the wall.
Yes,
right?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm ready for another podcast, and it's good to be back here, and it's good to have the continued progression of, and I know the audience can't see it, but we got lights, and this has been a couple weeks.
Yeah, we don't have glare
right.
off of the picture behind us.
This is starting to get seriously cool, and thank you for all of the hard work that you put into doing that. I like it, and I'm thrilled to be here with you talking about important topics.
You are welcome, man. I enjoy doing it. So
yeah.
This is a work in progress. We will continue to improve day by day.
Absolutely.
So what are we talking about tonight? It's your topic.
Yeah, we're talking about a subject that is something that actually came together in terms of the model that I'm going to present literally within the last few weeks. The concepts have been around for a very long time in my life.
Right.
But I am always looking for mental handles, easy ways to grab onto concepts that I can remember and apply in my life, and this falls into that category. So the topic would be a model for successful living. How's that? That's the title.
Right.
A model for successful living. And you have now wondered, well, what is that model for successful living?
Yeah.
And it's an acronym. It's a word, and the word is VART. VART.
I love acronyms. You know how I feel about acronyms.
I do.
The Marine Corps trained me well. Acronyms are good.
And so I think we should go through each one of these letters and talk about them. I'll tell you what they all stand for to start with.
All right.
And then we'll weave a tapestry as we talk about the story of this model for successful living and come up to the point where it all makes sense. It'll make sense immediately anyway. All right, you ready?
I am ready. Well, hold on. I want
Okay.
you to dive into something a little deeper first,
Okay.
though. You said this is something that you kind of identified recently, and I know these things that we're about to talk about are not new to you. So, what is it? Is it the recipe or the combination thereof that you identified recently, or share more with us about that?
Thank you. That's a great question. I am involved in a couple mentor relationships where I am mentoring some young people that are interested in improving their lives. And I was just sitting in the morning thinking about how can I communicate this particular message that in a way that they can easily grasp it and walk away with very little difficulty remembering what it is that I'm trying to get across to them.
Gotcha.
That I think will serve them over time. And so you're right. Every one of these concepts, we've probably done individual podcasts on some of them, maybe all of them almost. No, maybe one not. But
yeah, I was going to say there's one in here. I'm not sure. I mean, we might have said it in conversation, but I don't think we've used it as a definite topic that we were talking about.
right. But the other ones we definitely have, and I'm sure you're referring to the last one, the T.
Yeah,
right?
I am.
Okay. So that's where it came from, and it just I started writing the words down, and I started playing with what are some of the best ways to come up with something that your brain can go, I can remember that. VART.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of those words, though, man. We talked about this beforehand,
Yes.
whether or not we were going to say this, but you have to make sure you enunciate that V really
V,
well.
right.
VART.
Right. VART. VART. Yes. And if thinking of the other word makes you remember it, then I'm okay with it, just as long as you got it.
Yeah, absolutely. You remember that? No doubt you'll remember that word. And you'll be like, no, wait, it started with something else. It was V. That was it.
That was it.
VART.
Right.
Yes.
Sounds kind of the same, but not exactly.
Yes. This one smells much better.
Had to go there, didn't you? You had to go there.
Yeah, man.
All right. So, VART, V-A-R-T, vision, action, results, tend.
Yep.
Those are the words. Vision, action, results, tend. And so that's kind of all I told you about it was I gave you the word and the acronym. I'm curious to know. First of all, what do you think of it? And second of all, well, let's just dig right into vision. What does that mean to you, and what did you come up with?
So the first thing I'd say is talking about the whole thing, right? The four different words and their meaning, all very, very valuable personal development tools. Very great, framework to work with. But the vision part, for me is it's all about figuring out, in your mind's eye where it is you want to go. What is it that you want to accomplish? What does it look like? How do you look like in that scenario once you've accomplished it? What do you see yourself doing, and so on? And that's how you make it real, and then start taking the steps, taking the action necessary to produce those results, and then evaluate your progress and make changes along the way. But it starts with the vision, and and whether you're talking about we probably all hear vision and we think maybe a company or some type of organization that has a vision, and I think there's plenty of us that maybe out in the listening audience that don't have a clear personal vision. And I think that's one of the things that people really need to take time to think about and work on, because ultimately vision and goals are tied together. And I know I've said this before. If you're not working on your goals, you're working on somebody else's.
Right.
So figuring out what that vision is, identifying how you're going to get there, and then start working towards accomplishing it is a beautiful thing. But it starts with knowing what that is. Mm-hmm. And people don't spend a lot of time planning out their lives, unfortunately. I've heard it said that, people spend more time planning their 2-week vacation annually than they do planning the other 50 weeks in the year.
Right. There's a number of ways to get to where it is that you want to end up in your life. And there's a number of ways that people talk about how to do that. And I'm sure you've heard it said before. One of the questions that people ask you is, what do you want to be on your tombstone? Or what do you want people to say about you at your funeral, about your life? And that's one of the ways to project yourself into the future to see where it is that you'd like to end up. And so that's a part of it. But I wanted to back up for just a second because I forgot to say this when I was introducing the topic. In my mind, this is a garden metaphor. And the reason that I say that is because everybody can relate to what a garden is. And so if you think about a garden and you're standing, in your backyard or wherever your garden is, in mine it's the backyard.
Right.
And you just moved into this new house and you have this blank slate in the backyard that you want to put a garden in. And so the beautiful thing is, in your mind, right, you can start to think about, wow, right now it's nothing but dirt, but what can I do with this garden? And think about this garden as your life. This is another thing that I love about life. I really do. This is one of the things that excites me very much. When I wake up tomorrow morning, if I wake up, Lord willing, tomorrow morning, it is a blank slate. It is a day that I can make anything that I want it to be.
It has not been here before.
That's right. And so what am I going to do with this blank slate of a day? What am I going to do with this new garden in my backyard? What do I envision it to be? Do I want there to be flowers over here and shrubs over here and a tree over here and grass and gravel and a wall? What do I want this garden to be? How do I envision it? This is another way to say it is Stephen Covey's begin with the end in mind. Same thing. Yep. Same exact concept.
Yep, absolutely.
What is it that you want this garden to look like? And you spend the time to think about, I want this garden to look like this. And sometimes in our lives, no, not sometimes, most times, when we're thinking about individual choices that we're making or directions that we're heading, we really don't take the time to stop and think long enough about, where do I want this to end up? What do I want this particular project, this particular phase, this particular issue that I'm dealing with, what do I want it to end up like? And so if you have the presence of mind to think to yourself, I'm going to take the time to think about what do I want this to look like when it ends, or how do I want to accomplish this goal so that it turns out the way that it's supposed to, is extremely valuable. What is the vision?
Yeah, you mentioned the dash, right? Or your tombstone has a start date and an end date,
right?
And that section in between is referred to as the dash.
Okay.
And there's stories or there's lessons about, it doesn't matter when you started or when you ended. What really is important is what you did during the dash.
Yep.
And that time frame that filled in between the two. And there's someone out there, gentleman by the name of Dakota Meyer, Marine, Congressional Medal of Honor winner, and he's actually kind of championed or probably maybe even trademarked that phrase, the dash, and he's got a business model around it and focusing on the importance of really capitalizing on the here and now and your life and what what legacy you're going to leave and the importance of that dash. And I think that's pretty cool. The other thing that is spinning around in my head, and this is more on the lighthearted side, but when you start talking about a garden, I see Joe Dirt. Life's a garden. Dig it. I can't help it. It just jumped into my head.
Okay, there you go.
Right.
There you go. You completely threw me off of that one. I had this great, amazing thought that I was just going to share, and
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to ruin that for you.
And it's gone. No. Okay, I think I was just going to continue down the same path, and that was, think about in your own life, and this is for anybody. you have a project at work that you're working on. You literally have a garden in your backyard. You have your relationship with your spouse or your children. You have a major new endeavor that you want to, maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's a whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. The important part is, how do I want this to end up? Where do I ultimately see this going? And it's not just a matter of thinking about it in very vague terms and generalities.
Yeah.
It is, envision yourself getting the phone call from your boss saying, job well done. I'm giving you a $5,000 bonus because you freaking knocked this one out of the ballpark, because it exceeded expectations on what I was looking for you to do with this project. That's beginning with the end in mind. And it is projecting into the future and seeing it and feeling it and hearing the voice and having the conversations with people about how well it turned out. Or it's imagining your bank account and you look at it on one day and then you look at it on the next day and you got paid for whatever. Right. Or you launched the business and you see it and you see the plaque on the wall that has the first dollar that you made framed and put up there. Those kinds of things, when you envision them, become truly pulls into the future. They pull you.
Yeah, the thing that I'm seeing and just watching you is, and it's not being called out, is the emotional reaction, right? So the emotional reaction to that vision and how you are going to feel about accomplishing that and seeing that come through, because the emotion is what really drives you, and your body's saying it, right? So you're talking, showing me the emotion in your description, but that's huge, man. That's emotion is what makes it sticky, what makes it real, and will cause you to do the work and make it over the hurdles that may appear in your way on this path to accomplish that vision.
Yeah, you're right. The emotion part is huge, and it's like throwing additional fuel on the flame to make it even burn stronger in your heart, to make you really want to do it. And the last thing I wanted to say about the vision piece of it, here's your garden, you have a vision. Tell somebody about it. Share that word with somebody so that not only do you have it in your own head, but you've put it out there. As you have said many times, you put that energy out there into the universe. And not only that, but now you feel a sense of accountability, right?
Right. Yeah, because you've told somebody you're going to do this. Yeah. So you've got that piece of accountability out there that now you've got to deliver on.
So, successful living, successful project, successful whatever. Start with the vision. What is it that I want? All right. There we go. Now, you ready?
Yeah, you got to do something about it.
You got to do something about it. So tell me what you think about that action word.
Well, action overcomes fear, uncertainty, many things, right? So just put one foot in front of the other. When you're afraid to move forward, that's exactly what you need to do, is start taking those steps.
Good. Yeah. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. I'm just agreeing with you.
No, that's really it. And once you start moving, you'll start to see things occur, and your results will begin to show themselves, and you can make adjustments, in the actions that you're taking as needed based on the results that you're seeing. Because for me, results are not an end thing. I think people sometimes think results mean that's what I assess at the end. I think those are like a constant thing. So you're always assessing your progress and what results you're producing based on the actions that you have engaged in thus far, right. and continuously adjust along the way. It's kind of like playing a football game. We could keep running that same play, and they can keep stopping us at the line of scrimmage, or maybe we could adjust a little bit and do something different.
Yeah. Make a little yardage on it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So back to the garden metaphor. You've taken the time to envision what it is that you want there. Now you got to go out and you got to buy the seeds, and you got to buy the tree or plant the seed for the tree. That'll take a long time. or get the stones for the stone wall that you want to build to make the particular bed, and you got to buy the fertilizer, and you got to buy the mulch, and you got to, buy the grass seed or the sod or whatever, all of these things. And as we've said before, if you just dream about it and think about it and envision it and get all excited about it, but you don't do anything, you're just a dreamer. And it's okay to be a dreamer, but it's a lot better to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, the world needs dreamers.
Yep.
We need dreamers that are able to turn it into something else. Or we need, because some people are really good at being dreamers and coming up with great ideas, and they have difficulty with the next step, turning it into a strategy and action steps and so on. So, if you're one of those people, then you need to surround yourself with people that know how to take those next steps and take that wonderful vision or that dream that you have and help you identify what the action steps are that you need to take to actually start working towards realizing that dream or that vision.
Right.
Yes. Because, that's not everyone's strength. I think
right.
we can all take action. And at the same time, sometimes it's difficult to figure out, okay, well, here's this big thing I want to do out there. How am I going to get there? And, paring it down to small action steps so that you can actually start moving, get moving is sometimes challenging. So engage others.
I wonder if one of the ways that I learned to do that, I was taught in the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard certainly didn't invent this approach, and I'm wondering if it's, kind of in all of the military services, but there's such a thing that I learned about called a POAM. Have you heard that term? POAM, we call it a POAM.
Tell me more. It's been a minute.
It stands for Plan of Action and Milestones.
Nope, that's a new one on me.
Okay, so I know that there are other places that use it, but I was taught in order to take action, you know what you want to do now. And it's literally a document. You put it on paper. Plan of action. Here are my action steps listed. And it's not just listing the action steps. It's where are the milestones. I want to reach number 1 on this date. And I want to achieve number 2 on this date. And number 3 on this date. So it's moving from just the concept to now we have, the vision is kind of the big picture strategy, and the action step is now we're moving into setting the goals, putting the action steps down on paper, putting actual dates, putting results, the kind of thing. It's the planning part of it. It's the actual, now I have to start planning it and doing it.
Yeah, those milestones are important though.
Yeah.
Because the prize at the end is big. It's got to be big enough. Your why and that vision and so on has got to be big enough for you to put the work in to actually do it. And those milestones can be your friend because you use those as an opportunity for celebration. Don't celebrate too much and stop your forward momentum and the actions, but celebrate, how far you've made it thus far.
Right.
And appreciate that. So
right.
it helps to motivate you towards the next one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are important. Definitely.
And I think when it comes to doing this kind of stuff, a lot of people get discouraged because they might have this really big vision that's out there that they want to achieve something, and it's so big that they just get discouraged and like, there's no way. I can't get there. It's too much. And I'm telling you, chunk it down into little bitty pieces and right. chip away. And if you stick with it and you persevere, again, the compound effect. You'll wake up a year from now, even if you're only taking little itty bitty teeny tiny steps every day, and you do that for a year, you're way beyond where you are right now.
Absolutely.
Whether you want to write a book, you want to start a business, you want to start playing the guitar, I don't know, whatever it is, just start and chip away a little bit more. And if you persevere, then all of a sudden, every once in a while, you'll hit oh my goodness, I'm really making some good progress. Now I'm going to want to pour more time into it. And you'll go through these periods of extreme productivity and motivation and creativity and drive. And it won't necessarily stay with you the whole time, but when it's really rough and tough and you're having a hard time, goodness, just get up and chip away at it a little bit more every day on these action steps. Keep with it, stick with it, and you'll...
Yeah, and celebrate those small wins along the way.
There you go. So that's what action means to me. VAR.
R. It's the pirate section. R.
Yeah. So give me your.
So R is the results,
Right.
And your results don't lie. They're going to show you whether you're doing what you need to be doing, or you need to adjust. And sometimes there's something broken in the chain. So you have this vision, you have the idea of what it is you want to set out to do, and then you have the action steps that you're taking, that strategy that you're working to get to that end goal, and then you have your results that you're assessing. And if those results aren't where you want them to be, then something in the earlier pieces is not working correctly. So is it the vision that needs to be modified slightly? Or is it the action steps that, and that strategy that you're executing by taking those action steps, does it need to be modified in some way, shape, or form? Or, what other, point of execution is not going the way it needs to produce the results that you're looking for?
There you go. That's it. The results are the world giving you the feedback that you need as a result of the actions that you are taking, based on the vision, the imagination that you put out there and got you started in the first place. And of course, maybe back to the garden, you wanted that corner over there in the back left side to be white flowers, and lo and behold, they came up purple. That screwed everything up. How did that? I mean, the package said they were white. At least I think it said they were white, and they're purple. Who knows? Maybe the trees that you planted on that side died. It happens all the time, right? You plant trees and they die. Same thing in your life. You have a vision, you start taking action, and the results, the world starts giving you feedback. Well, this didn't turn out exactly like I expected that it would. It's not what I envisioned. What do I need to do as a result?
Yeah, and that's valuable too, right? Because you learn along the way. Because when you start out, you have this vision, and you have not yet embarked on that journey, started working the process, working the plan to realize that vision. And there's a lot of stuff that you can plan for, and there's a lot of stuff that you have no idea about.
Yeah.
Things that you could not have foreseen. And don't beat yourself up for that, right? Understand that there are those unknowns out there, and things that you don't necessarily have control over that are going to crop up, and that happens, and you have to adjust and keep moving forward. But give yourself the grace to understand that there are some unknowns out there that you will not be able to plan for. And no matter, even when you're working with a large group on a team project, there's always the potential to have some areas of exposure, areas of vulnerability where none of us saw that coming.
Right.
But that's okay. You just have to realize it and then adjust and keep working towards that vision.
Right. Yeah. And a specific example that I know that people can relate to the real examples. This is a couple years ago now, but I remember having a conversation with my daughter about, she got to a point in her life where she was at a fork, and depending on which direction she chose, it was going to mean very different things for her life. And
you didn't give her the Yogi Bear advice, did you?
When you come to a fork in the road, take it. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I kind of did, actually. She was really struggling. She was having a what did I label it? Not a midlife crisis. She was having a beginning of life crisis. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There was I have to make decision A or decision B, and she was talking to me about it, and she just couldn't figure out which one she wanted most. So finally, after watching her struggle with this for a number of weeks as she was really going through this, I said, damn it, just go. Pick a direction and go. If it's the wrong direction, the world will give you the feedback starting pretty quickly that you've made the wrong decision, and enough to now.
Yeah, that's great advice, man. Just do something.
Right.
Action is better than inaction.
Just
in
like
all
you said
circumstances
at the beginning. Right. Allow yourself to get the results. You're not going to get results if you don't do anything. And she was just stuck, spinning in one spot.
Yeah.
And okay, well, what am I going to do? Damn it, do something, do it.
Yeah.
Pick a direction.
Yeah, and I know somebody's going to key on what I just said about action is better than inaction in all circumstances, and somebody's going to want to argue that with me, and I understand. Sometimes the decision not to act is a decision and is an action.
Yes, it is.
When you have the ability to do so and you choose not to because of certain factors, that is an action in and of itself.
Right. Absolutely. So that's the action.
Yeah, that's
piece.
great advice for her, though, man. And it certainly is working out for her. She is she's moving forward. She's a married woman now and got all kinds of great things going on.
She's doing wonderful, and I'm thrilled for her. And
That's cool.
I thank God every day for the blessing that she is. Absolutely. All right, we're on our path to successful living. We've got our vision. We're taking action. Now we're starting to get the results back, and we're evaluating those results. And then what are we doing? What are we doing at that point?
Well, we're adjusting as need be, right? So we've talked about that, and then you gotta keep tending the garden.
There you go.
And this is a broad one for me.
Okay.
Because I think there's so much that you can bring into this conversation about tending the garden, because it's not just about, in my mind anyways, it's not just about this vision. It's about your abilities and your knowledge and you as a whole being, and taking care of you from start to finish. So there's a lot of tending that needs to go on, not just focused on the garden, but the holistic picture that includes the gardener, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah, in fact, you just made me think about this in a new way, or actually you brought a new perspective that I hadn't thought before, but I really like it. And let me tell you what I'm talking about. The tending, in my mind, it was, okay, the results are giving you feedback, and now you have to react to those results. But you can tend to the vision. You can tend to the actions. You can tend to the plants that are coming up. You're right. And
it's an ongoing process.
I can stand in my backyard and say, this is what I want for my garden. And I can take action, and I can have a garden. So 3 years from now, I have what I think is a pretty darn good garden. And then I have a master gardener come and check out my garden. Somebody who, really knows this business, and they go, whew, man, I mean, it's a garden, but that's about all it is.
Did you do this on purpose?
Yeah. My point is, if you're having conversations with people, remember we said tell somebody about it?
Yeah.
And they're giving, you bring people in who know this business, whatever the business is in your life. Again, back to I'm writing a book, I'm starting a project, I'm working on something at work, I'm tuning up my motorcycle, whatever it is that I'm doing it in a way that, well, maybe my vision could have been a lot better if I had somebody working with me, teaching me, or maybe if I was growing or reading the book or learning how to become a master gardener myself. What is it about your life that you need to tend to with respect to this garden? And it could be just a matter of pulling the weeds, because that's going to come up. All kind of things are going to happen, right? You're living your life. You're executing this goal that you're moving toward. Boom! All of a sudden, the nasty stuff starts popping up and getting in your way.
Right. Your garden gets a pandemic.
Wow. There you go.
Didn't see that one coming, right?
Did not see.
Yeah.
How am I going to deal with that new set of weeds?
Yeah.
Somebody drove down the street and pitched weed seeds. Are there such things?
There are now.
Okay. Over the fence into my garden, and now they're coming up everywhere. Yeah. Didn't see that coming. And now I have to tend it. And again, back to one of the things in our individual lives that we don't want to get to is the point where we allow those weeds to overtake the rest of the garden just because we're too tired, we're too lazy. We don't have enough reasons in our life to persist on this particular journey that we're on. And so you got to remind yourself what brought me to this place in the first place. Why do I want to do this? And how can I make sure I persist along the way? So you got to pull the weeds. You got to, prune the trees. You got to I don't know, whatever you do to tend.
Yeah, the pulling of the weeds, that's caused me to go somewhere else with this line of thought. So I've heard it said in I think Jack Canfield talks about this, that you have, things in your life that take attention away from what it is you need to be focusing on. And in this case, it could be, the example could be the weeds, right? I think he uses the example of anchors or these just mental draws where you're, you know that you want to go over here and do this, but you've got this nagging little project that you haven't given the attention to that you need to. And every time you walk by and you see, I don't know, I use a lawnmower as an example. You've got a broken lawnmower there, and every time you walk by, you know that lawnmower's broken, and it captures your mental attention for however long you're walking by that lawnmower, and however long you dwell on it after you pass the lawnmower when you get inside. And his advice, and it makes sense, is you got to do something about those anchors that are dragging you down. So fix it. Fix it or get rid of it, because it's not doing you any good sitting there the way it is. So beware of those weeds in your life that are causing you distractions and not allowing you to devote the full mental attention and so on towards the vision that you're working on. Just pull those things out, get rid of them, get rid of those anchors and those weeds.
Boy, that is spot on. And what you reminded me about, which I think probably most people can relate to, is I'm in a pretty good routine in the mornings when I'm getting ready for my day and reviewing my work list and doing all that stuff. And I will sometimes, probably most times, as I'm getting ready to start my work, I'll take a quick glance at the headlines of what's going on in the world. I'll go to the web pages that I like to look at, and I'll just kind of want to see, did something big happen in the last 24 hours that I'm not aware of? And do I want to quickly look at them? And in most cases, I'm pretty good about limiting literally to 1 to 2 minutes. I just kind of want to see the big stuff. And all right, I kind of know what's going on. But every once in a while, it gets away from me. And I have a full day. I have lots of items on my work list that I want to do. All of them have been prioritized. And the next thing I know, 30 minutes are gone because I've been running down this. Something caught my attention.
Yeah.
And I allowed that weed to pop up and get in my way and stop me from doing what I needed to be doing. And I'm no better for it. I don't even know it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the issue is. I read, it captured my attention. That's the discipline that we need to pull that. That's the
put those mental blinders on.
Yeah.
Envision yourself as a horse. You've got a mission. You got a load that you're pulling to get to where you need to go. Put those blinders on so that you don't get sidetracked, focusing on the shiny objects here and there along the way.
Yeah, that's it. So that's the tend the garden piece of it. And that's by the way, how's your garden?
I don't have a garden, so it depends on what we're using to.
You're all trimmed up and everything good, and does your wife trim the garden?
Is this a manscaping commercial? Where are we going here?
I'm just asking.
This is getting uncomfortable quick.
No.
I don't have a garden. We don't have a garden out here.
Well, what do you have out there?
We have a swimming pool, and there's.
You have a plant?
Yeah, there's some landscaping around the pool.
All right, that's a garden.
Ish. I think so. When we're talking about actual gardens, that's one thing. That's a whole another subject matter. We're talking about the metaphor of our lives compared to a garden.
Right.
Because I prefer to have a very low maintenance landscaping setup so that I can have more time and spend more time actually enjoying it with my family and friends rather than working on the garden. Because that for me is not not something that I enjoy necessarily. I'd rather be riding motorcycles, smoking cigars, pipes, hanging out with the family, drinking whiskey, lots of other things before gardening comes into the arena for things I'd like to do.
You have executed VART on that. You had a vision. You just described the vision.
Yeah.
I want a low maintenance yard with plants that I don't have to worry about and that are easy to take care of, because I have this vision of spending more time with my family and friends, enjoying.
That's right. I like rocks and concrete.
You took action, so you didn't put in a big old piece of dirt that you got to be working with all the time to make sure everything is just so with respect to the plants. And you started getting the results back that you wanted and enjoying the time with family and friends, and said, this is a beautiful thing. And you know, when that plant dies in the corner, in the planter, you probably replace it.
That's right.
So
We've already had one of those, expire on us. A little tree, I guess it was a Tom Thumb or something, but Tom's thumb is gone. It didn't work out so well.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
The dryness, I think, of one of the was it last summer? Maybe it was last summer. Yeah. So the heat and the dryness just wore Tom Thumb out.
You gotta, you have to water plants every once in a while.
I do when I can. I do what I can. But Tom was a real needy little
bastard. Peeing on it doesn't count.
Tom was a needy little bastard. No, I didn't have time for Tom. I had other stuff going on.
All right.
The rest of the hardy ones survived.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. Tom was a weakling.
Yeah, Tom was a weakling.
Right.
Every once in a while you get those.
Yeah.
The world gave you feedback and you got rid of Tom.
That's right. Need some hardy plants.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So what do we? What have we missed? What have we not called out?
That's it. That's it for me. It works, and I have since I came up with it.
You need to start drinking that thing, man. You're making me look bad over here.
Well, I've been so busy talking.
Well, if you're not
going to
drink it up.
No, I'll finish it. Don't worry. But not right in the middle of talking. See, that's the problem. I started talking, and so no, that's it. Successful living, and we're just trying to give people a tool, a very simple tool that they can grab onto to say, no matter what the issue, the subject, the project, the hobby that you're wanting to get started with, if you apply VART, then you are armed with a tool that can help you efficiently and effectively be successful. And that's what I'm after.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love the acronym. And remind us once again what VART, what the acronym stands for.
Vision. What is the ultimate? Begin with the end in mind. What do you want this thing is that you're working with? In this case, the garden to look like. Action. Now that you have the vision, what are the actions that I need to take to bring this vision into reality? Okay, things are planted, things are going, things are happening in this garden. What are the results? What is it actually looking like? And is it, in fact, fulfilling this vision that I put out there into the universe? And finally, okay, now I'm going to tend to it. I'm going to do the things I need to do to continue to adjust and modify any element, any aspect to all of it that allows me to ultimately achieve what I'm after.
It's beautiful, man. Yeah, and I think it's a guide that we can all use, and we know it works because we both do it.
We both do it. There you go.
No doubt. And we're not putting theories out there, because what we're sharing with you is wisdom of the ages. We've got over 110 years combined life experience. I don't know what caused me to think about that the other day, but
wow,
I was like,
stop it.
That holy shit, 110 years. No, yeah, we do, man. Over 110. It's actually more accurately probably more like 112, but or close to it anyways. But yeah, that's interesting when you think about it. So we're sharing with you the things that we've personally learned, we've personally experienced, and know what works and what doesn't work, and the experiences of others that have been shared with us. So take heed. Don't fight that urge to when somebody tells you the stove's hot, fight that urge to go over and touch the damn thing because you don't believe it's hot. You need to find out for yourself. Let that go. Let that, when somebody tells you it's hot, spare yourself the pain of learning that lesson yourself. Take their word for it and move on and make adjustments as you need to. And the thing that you can do to help other people in the process is share this podcast with them. whether it's sharing the YouTube channel or sharing one of the audio platforms that you listen to this podcast on. Please do. We are continuing to grow this audience, and we appreciate all of you folks that listen, and we absolutely love the feedback that we get from you. Whether it's good or bad, we appreciate it. We appreciate that you're taking time to listen to it and share your thoughts with it. And it warms my heart, and I know it does yours, Kevin. We've had conversations about this when somebody makes a comment about how this podcast has positively impacted their life, and that's just cool. That's what we set out to do. So
very cool.
Share it with somebody, and if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, please do. And we thank you. And we'd like to also remind you that no matter who you are, where you are, or what you're doing, that between this podcast and the next, you take time to enjoy the ride. See, that is so much better when we're face-to-face. The timing is
so
right.
Much easier.
Yeah. The delay on Zoom.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.